is a multi-year
Essentially,
fund, because we're going to fund it when we know that we have the requirement for the set-aside amount.
Right.
We would have to take it perhaps out of the courthouse general and put it over there.
Well, yeah, either that or from, like, let's say I came in and I'm going to get a grant for my office.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the money that, it might be a type of grant that I have to expense it before it's a reimbursable grant.
Mm-hmm.
Or, so if that, at that point, if there's a matching part, then I come in and get the approval of the grant, and you approve the county match, then you would sign one of those transfer forms for that amount of money, and then transfer that directly out of my budget into that grant fund.
So it'd come out of your existing budget in
If
that
that's
case.
what you decide, you
Yeah.
would have to decide at the point where the transfer's going to come from.
and it looked like you, in reading the minutes, it looked like you're already kind of doing that with those matching portions, determining where that was going to come from. So that shouldn't.
And some grants don't have a department owner, like the funds for the transportation program, which hopefully will have a department, but the safe room grants, that's more county general. But if it's for EMS or if it's for public works, those would be under their budget and then transferred from their specific budget over to the grant fund rather than the county general specifically, just general.
Would that still show
Very
that
few
the,
just come without a sponsor.
Okay. You're assuming that the office heads are going to know maybe a year in advance they're going to have this money set aside.
We're trying to get to that where we're forward thinking on those. I mean, I have projections for 2017
Okay.
for most departments. Now,
We set up a
occasionally
grant
we'll
fund, we
get an
check with the
opportunity
attorney,
that's
and then
not.
the local match, we try to put the money in the general to plan ahead when we have the
Yeah.
figures of what we think, so, okay.
That's what I do.
All right.
I think that
Okay.
should simplify it
The
a lot.
future of existing grants, matching funds, we've already
yeah,
talked
we
about
just
that.
discussed that.
Okay, courthouse issues, window replacement, wiring, security, lockdown, natural disasters, elevators, and phone systems. Some of this we've talked about. Are you're suggesting that we set money aside to
You know, that's something that you can. I don't know. I mean, how soon are you thinking?
well, we were just talking about the security and lockdown.
And I did call the school to see, and Ryan, I don't know if you had a chance to look into that, but just for curiosity's sake, I called up to the school and I asked them how much their lockdown system
Okay.
of their cost. They worked with Access Control Systems out of Salina.
Okay.
Tracy Neitzel said she was sure Rob would give us a good recommendation on that, but
High school, 20,000, grade school, 18.
roughly. And is it, okay, we don't have near as many doors.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I can't see it costing that much.
And maybe what we need to do is try to get some of this stuff estimated and do the things that we need to do
a 3-year
immediately.
That's
plan
what
or a
I
5-year
do,
plan.
and I think, and that's something too. John will be out here to discuss the budget with
guys
you
agree
at
with
some
that?
point. So that's something he tries to kind of. I know when budgeting process tries to build up a cushion for maintenance and stuff type issues like that.
Now,
And
the
so-
elevator, we just signed a contract with a company that maintains the elevator, so that should be,
No, that's different.
Oh.
On the elevator, there needs to be some light panels in those doors that have little rays
Oh.
that go across, and I was talking to Shelley about that yesterday. That's about $5,000 to get just those light panels in there.
Okay.
But she said eventually that control panel on the inside is going to have to be redone, and that's about $30,000.
oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there should be a 3-year plan
It's
on
an old elevator.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I do on that stuff.
And I
It's an old
don't know how
elevator.
much that
Yeah,
would
but
be.
that's it ain't that damn old.
Hey, Eric?
I put it in there since I started working.
Phone system. We're getting up to date on all that, is that right?
We're actively working it.
Okay.
I'm waiting on a quote. We're going to be, with Matt's 8,000 and another, I'm going to say no more than 15.
Okay.
15 roughly.
Well,
Yeah,
just get us, if you
Savings
could,
in
sorry,
there,
Brian.
we're going to see on the backside.
Right, I understand that, but if you could get us those numbers for budget, and we'll
Yeah.
set these aside.
John.
I think windows are very important, security and phone, elevator. Okay.
And I was, Rodney, I couldn't remember the name of the gentleman that had spoke to you guys, but he was with Train. It was Kurt Unrein. Remember you had approved for him to do a study on the
Right.
windows and the wiring and
But
everything?
they never did they?
He never came back.
Okay.
So it's on my list of to-do is to call him and see if he has anything, any
Yeah.
recommendations, approximate costs or where he's at.
They're back in January.
I remembered that.
Yeah,
Is this-
that's Rodney's.
Okay.
Yeah, so that will give you guys a little bit better numbers with that.
Yeah. All that stuff, yeah, I just get a rough estimate and idea when you're wanting to do it and get that incorporated.
We
in the
want to
budget
lower our taxes first.
Everybody does. Now's not the time to lower them, though.
Okay, record retention, digitization of county permanent and other records.
I think most of the departments outside of Genie are in the need of starting to consider doing their retention of records that are permanent records for the county. Because really, there's not been anything activity on that. So we're looking to go clear back to the beginning and starting from day one.
There's records
So the
downstairs,
departments would need to
1800s.
budget in their equipment account to
Yes.
start
In the
doing
vault
this.
Downstairs.
What is the projected cost of that?
Well, I tried to get a hold of this guy to have him come and look at everything, and he's not going to be able to come until
Who did you talk to?
How long are you in town?
yes.
I want to find out how we
But
can
he's-
lower because we could save so much money on our insurance.
Well, in visiting
We've
with
got
the
it,
other
otherwise we're
offices
gonna
and
say
stuff, we
crucified.
kind of thought it would be easiest and best
But I'd like
if
to
we
talk
just
to
were
you,
all consistent and use
Maybe
the
I'll call you on
same
the phone.
Yep.
company, but he's going to be here.
And if you have any suggestions.
I thought I had it written down
You
here.
know, looking at it different.
Must have put it on my calendar instead.
Friends, because of mother health insurance, stuff like that, so it probably would be it.
Good. Okay, so we'll hear on that.
On the copy that I gave all the department heads that had like the pricing of what he had estimated to other counties, there was a date on there. Do you guys any of you have that?
No, I don't.
Well, I didn't. I just gave it to the department head because this just came up last week and it was all
Well, we'll
kind of
need-
fast and furious after we had our department head.
We'll need to
meeting.
look at these numbers before, at least by June 28th.
Yeah.
So,
These are just things that we kept brought up at our department head
Right.
meeting and we felt that
Exactly.
was important
and it
to
is.
discuss with you guys.
Okay. Now, moving some departments from general, being ambulance and home for the aged.
Which that's something we, I guess, kind of recommended from first time we came out here. Is
Okay.
especially ambulance was one for sure. There again, it's just easier to track. It makes it easier to track.
Okay. And that's okay with you guys?
That's yeah.
Okay.
And I just say most. I think every other county we do ambulance does have separate.
Okay.
And
So-
they're under the general.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's,
They're kind of like the hospital in Noxious Weed and Red
Yeah,
Ridge.
yeah,
They're still
separate.
listed under
Okay.
general, but they're
they're
separate
separate.
fund.
They have their own tax levy and that thing. So that will be something that I'll mention to John. And first thing will be budgeting it accordingly for a separate fund, and then once it's budgeted, then transitioning into other funds. So that'll be something to take care of there with the budget too.
Now, the board, and we've discussed this several times, of splitting the two budgets between Birch City and St. Francis Fire. I think that's great.
And I did do a budget worksheet for them this year,
Okay.
and I gave it to both departments. As far as the financials were concerned, I noted to them that what was budgeted last year was only for the St. Francis Fire Department. There
Right.
wasn't anything budgeted for Bird City, but yet they had expense reports that they could go through and they could see which one was Bird City's, and they could itemize it out and kind of set their own budgets. And I gave both of them payroll reports so they could see what the Bird City payroll was and what the fire department or St. Francis payroll was.
Okay.
So they're working on that.
So we add another department under the general fund, which would give us two.
This is,
Fund 14.
this is
Yeah.
under Fund 14.
Fire
It's
is
not
Fund
under the
14.
general.
Instead of just,
Yeah, that's under
instead of
14.
Cheyenne County, it'd be Bird City and St. Francis, or St. Francis and Bird City.
So you would have to split that into two?
Yes.
Well,
My concern on that would be if there, I assume it's one taxing district for the fire department, so I don't know that you could split it into two funds necessarily.
we would just set up two different,
You could just have like a
Departments.
sub-departments in the same
Well,
fund.
we had it that way once upon a time, and then we quit using those fund.
Yeah.
How does the
Big-
District 1 and the District 2 come into play there? Because they're different fire districts, right?
We get values from Rawlins County as to what they need for funding, and it goes into an equation and the funding gets split out.
You're
That
looking,
brings up another question.
is that gonna, will that work that way?
No, yeah, it'll work. I was just thinking it would work fine.
Okay.
If you just use that fund, but then, yeah, just expense accounts, you can have one almost department or whatever within the fund for each one.
Okay.
That's fine with us, yeah. That
All right,
shouldn't be a
public
problem.
transportation, which is new, well, is it? It is just new this year.
will
just
be
took
in
care of that.
November.
Yeah, and we signed the resolution for that, right?
Yeah.
So that should be taken
Yeah.
care
Yep,
of.
and it doesn't need, the Equipment Reserve Capital Improvement Fund, it doesn't need anything like that because it will be a non-budgeted fund, so there's really no concern with, you can carry the money over year to year and spend it as needed on equipment,
So,
so.
because we will, hopefully could expand it and purchase a second vehicle, we may need to fence, area, make it secure. So that doesn't need to be tracked as capital or.
No, you can just, it'll be like capital outlay expense
Where's the money
within that
going to
fund.
come from, though?
You can carry over,
Pardon?
because if you're setting up that public transportation fund,
But the money that's setting it up is from grants, but that grant money may stop someday, so. would
then
it
you just
be-
transfer from general over to there
Yeah, well, because it's
to
grant
fund it.
and local match.
Find out how we can
And
lower.
if there is
See,
a
we
grant,
can't
then
get
you
it
just have to
lowered,
fund it
yeah.
out of the
Yeah,
general fund,
okay.
just transfer it over.
Okay. Policy and procedure, what are your thoughts?
That's,
Strictly probably us. isn't it?
yeah, I mean, that's just however you want to come up with a policy on that.
It'd have to go into the employee's handbook, is
Yeah,
where
I was
that
gonna
would be
say
covered.
incorporate it into.
And then the attorney can look it over and we can make
And
sure
then,
we're
yeah, I was
covered.
gonna say, definitely consult the attorney, and as far as retention policies and stuff like that, I have no idea what the actual legality is on that, so that would definitely be an attorney question.
One last thing before we adjourn. I would like to sometime have a conference call with you on how we can, how and how much we can lower our taxes, because that is a major issue. And so I know we've made the cuts, and it's just like you said, but I would like to kind of know where you're thinking we're going to fall.
Okay.
That way,
And to keep in mind, which I'm sure you're aware, is the whole tax lid, and you're gonna have to be careful cutting tax levies right now with
Yeah.
with the tax lid coming. And that's something like that John will address.
John will address that.
when
Okay.
when he's preparing the
Because-
budget. But,
we save so much money on that health
yeah,
insurance.
and you
That's
have
like-
a lot more.
That's like almost
Fund
15,
balance.
18 mils right there.
And it
Yeah.
came down a long ways
Yeah.
in the last 2 years.
So I guess when I'm looking at tax lids on that, if we can look at the general progression of what you were thinking, 9% per year for health insurance.
Well, based on what she said.
Right.
I toyed with it over the weekend using 6, but
Right.
I'm being conservative. I'm
Well,
naturally
it's-
conservative on
Right.
a lot of
Anyway,
things.
Not to put you on the spot, but we'd like to have you look at it. We're going to look at it a little further and see what we can do.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep, I understand.
All right.
And John will be up to put those numbers in. And
Well,
remember when he came
There is
last year?
something we need to discuss before we adjourn.
Yeah.
As he kind of, well, based off of the audited 15 numbers, then he kind of puts together a projection, what he thinks, and then
You guys
meets with you
look
and any,
Yeah.
any special requests around the ordinary stuff. He can
Okay,
adjust
what about the
accordingly.
ambulance memorial fund? I
Oh,
know
yeah.
that they had approved to remove that, but is
Um,
that still?
And I kind of talked to Reed about this yesterday. I'd kind of misunderstood originally, I think, about what was being talked about. I guess what he's talking about is actually that money being transferred into a new nonprofit entity for the benefit of the ambulance
Right.
service, which would be perfectly fine with me. I mean, it would require
We've discussed
approval
that
of the
and
commissioners,
transfers.
but the only thing we don't
Well,
like
this
to
is
see
the
is
memorial, the donations.
the only thing we don't like to see is if it's a separate bank account that's still under the county, but yet doesn't have county control. That concerns us. But if it's a separate nonprofit entity and stuff, that's no problem. That's just up to you guys what you want to do with that. And I know he was talking about maybe expanding on the whole nonprofit and getting more grants and donations through that. So I think it would definitely be beneficial
Okay.
for the county going forward. So that's up to you guys what you want to do with that. But I have no problem with it going into being transferred into a nonprofit type entity.
All right. Ryan, you had something?
Just a couple things. One is wasn't just open. It's not just EMS. I know in the past we've talked about working with the Greater Northwest Campus Foundation, setting up a nonprofit for all of emergency services, including the fire department, EMS. We do have some people that want to make substantial donations, but right now there's no tax benefit for emergency services.
Okay.
And that would help with some equipment costs down the road and things like that. Also, on the email thing, I don't want to just kind of skip over it. I think that's a really big priority we need to look at, simply because when somebody leaves the county, and we found this out, sometimes it takes a long time. If they set up a new email account, to get that circulated through all the state agencies and everybody, and we have a lot of information that gets missed because they're sending it to that old email address and none of us know anything about it. So
The other issue with that, non-centrally managed, is when that person leaves, they're the only ones that can access that account. And so all of your business that you've conducted under that account, you cannot reset that password. So you have a liability and a risk there for the county.
And
Yeah.
so I believe it's now too that if you conduct county business on personal emails, that it's open record.
yeah.
Then you have to donate your claim and you have to report it to
So
get into that
it's
account.
just getting to be a good idea to address it for sure. anyways.
In discussion on the fire department, the consolidated method fund page shows Fire District 1.
Oh, was this what you brought up to my office?
Pardon?
Is this what you brought up to my office with Rollins County? I was paying
Well, that's the bottom part down there. That establishes what the taxpayers, the landowners are paying. Is that correct? In other words, that's the mills right there that are set aside for the fire district. So that document set up 82,000 for this year. If we as commissioners granted the fire department more than that, then we would have to, in the future, we would have to identify that, or do we just put it in the budget?
No, I mean, you just, if you want to increase it, you just change the budget accordingly. And I guess if you want to increase you're just going to increase the mill levy all you're doing by increasing expenditures, so. I don't know if that answered what you're asking really.
Okay, the bottom figure there represents 3.33 mills going to Rollins County.
This is
And that has
This
been
is
done.
St. Francis.
Huh?
This is St. Francis.
But we're paying
This is
Rollins
Cheyenne
County.
County.
We're paying
Rural
Rollins
Fire
County.
3 is, this is.
This is St.
Rural Fire District
1, and that down there is 3.
That's equipment reserve.
This is the equipment reserve for Fire 1.
Oh, that's equipment reserve. Okay, that's what I wanted clarified. I didn't know if this was for Fire District 3 or not.
No,
Okay.
it's just the,
All right. So in reference to us sending tax dollars to Rollins County, that's been going on in this county for I don't know how many years.
it's for the Rollins County covers that little sliver of
30 square miles.
lots of acres on the
Right.
north,
It's about 30
East.
square miles up there.
and that's what we don't send them a whole lot of money.
I presume it's
It's
you just
not
collect
that
it
much.
Well,
Yeah.
because the
3.33
Fire districts don't
mills
exactly-
is
but really
over
that-
$100,000.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that money would be coming from actually
I think it's more like .3.
it's because the districts don't line up with the county line. Correct, the rural fire district doesn't match up with Cheyenne County lines. So really that tax money isn't Cheyenne County tax money ever. It is Rollins County tax money that you collect
Collect for
on
them
their
and
behalf and then turn them
send it
over to
to
them.
them.
So it's really Rollins County taxpayers paying that money to you and you just turn. All because the-
No, it's Cheyenne
No,
County
No.
residents paying.
It's going,
It's actually, there's
The
a,
roads, you have to get to those, that area. you
it's
have to
going
get from
But
close
isn't-
to them.
If you live in Rollins County,
Right,
you're still
but
in
the
that
reason
district,
they got
aren't you?
different
Still
districts, our roads don't line up.
paying to you, or do they pay to Rollins County?
They'll
even?
pay
I talked to the
Okay.
sheriff, and because
It's
of all
just-
the oil drilling
yeah.
up there,
the
there's roads all
ones
over.
that Cheyenne County
Gotcha.
residents that are.
Fire
running
trucks
our
can
district.
go up in there. So we need to
Gotcha,
think
gotcha.
about
So-
canceling that.
But yeah.
We also have one.
You can't cancel the
Sure we
rural
can.
fire 3. Well, they might quit coming to our fires then.
Yeah,
It's, yeah,
Those
it's our
fire districts
Cheyenne
are-
County residents that are in that fire district that are paying those taxes. That's the only people who are paying those taxes,
Okay.
not the whole county.
So Brian, real quick, back onto email. So are there recommendations for email
You know,
retention
come talk
policies
to
as
me
well?
afterwards if
From
More
the
I'm a little
legislative,
confused.
or is that
I've
more
got
of
to
a
head to
legal?
work, but.
sometime.
Yeah.
I'd
Because I did it
recommend
like-
to be addressed, yeah.
Probably a policy issue.
Yeah, from my standpoint, that's kind of out of the scope of what we audit, but it's definitely something that should be addressed.
Something else I want to bring up is the time clock, just to give you an
Yeah,
update.
that was the last thing I wanted to bring up.
I spoke with Pam Meadows, and because of summer and scheduling and everything, we're looking at the time clock being installed that second week of August. And so they will be on-site, and employees, they'll train employees on how to use the system, and then we'll probably go live September 1st. And I have a list of, from our department head meeting, the department heads told me how many mobile applications they wanted for their department, but
Can I exceed 20?
no.
Okay, good.
No, we're well within our range there. But I still need some decisions on the board as to when your pay period is going to be. And when we had our department head meeting, it was kind of general consensus that they would like to go to being paid every 2 weeks. But here again, that's something that we need to have you guys decide what you want to do, and also getting those hours, the overtime and comp time and those questions answered so that we can get the software designed and get that set up.
Also, there's things that'll have to go into the handbook.
Yeah.
That applies to this too.
Clocking in and out for lunch, lunch
Well, I think
breaks,
we need to
mid-morning
start
breaks.
with a monthly and see how the system works.
But those are decisions you guys
Okay.
have to make.
All right.
But just an
And
update, that's what
the
we're
one
doing.
concern that the department had brought up about the payroll timing is if you stick with monthly and you're going to be paying on the 15th, that first month you implement, people will go 6 weeks without a paycheck.
Yeah.
And there would need to be a lot of communication and planning with employees, because that would impact a lot of your employees.
Good.
But it wouldn't be, just that first month is it going to affect you, and then it's going to catch up with itself.
With the lead time we're giving them, they should be able to arrange their personal finances, for crying out loud.
That's easier.
Most of our finances are pretty set, so
Yeah.
they're not rangeable.
So
That's ridiculous.
are we, is it what I'm hearing from the employees, it's twice a month would be more suited?
You can
Every
make
2
that
weeks.
First initial transition.
I think that's probably what we better do then.
I would suggest
Well-
like the first and the 15th as opposed to every 2 weeks, because every 2 weeks then you have this.
Oh, I got no problem with that.
First and 15th?
Or the date of your commission meetings. even,
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
what I would do.
Okay.
Yeah, because you guys need to sign them anyway, so.
And you can check with Sherman County, because that's how they do it.
Okay.
The date of the commission.
Something that was discussed too was possibly making it a mandatory electronic deposit.
Oh, mandatory deposits?
We do the electronic deposits for some employees, but not all. Employees have had the option of whether they want a hard copy check or a direct deposit check. The direct deposit is really nice, and I don't know if you guys want to make that a mandatory thing or an optional. We have some checks that don't
Ever
get
get
cashed.
cashed, and then that's a pain.
Yeah. Voiding prior year payroll checks that don't get cashed it's kind of a,
Most companies are going to where they won't cut a check for a paycheck.
I know it.
Just all?
I don't think government agency enforces the direct deposit.
No, I think the state does. They don't write checks anymore.
That'd be a question for your attorney.
For Nicole? Okay, can you make a note then we need to ask her that? Okay. Anybody have anything else? Okay.
The schedule for budgets, that was something that came up in the agenda. Deb may have already
June
brought
28th,
this to you.
June 28th at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And
and I
So,
will
Paper
take
knows it.
appointments. The commissioners did set June the 28th at 1 o'clock for their first scheduled budget workday. So if you would like to schedule a time to bring your budget into me, because I need to make 3 copies for each, a set for each commissioner, and then you can come in and discuss with the board why you budgeted what you did.
When do you need the worksheets back?
As soon as you have them done, I'll start making copies.
Do you have a deadline?
well, they're having it on June 28th,
So
so.
before that date?
Yeah, give us some time to get the copies made so that they can each have a set.
Jenny?
You tabled the recommendations for option years for the pay increases and stuff. How is that going to affect these budgets?
We-
We're supposed to have them, like, you need the tool and make decisions.
We approved,
You did approve it. I was in and out.
okay,
I was in and out. Okay.
Yeah,
The compression ranges was
Okay.
tabled.
Okay.
it was in the,
I'm just a question because how do you do your budget, especially with the 5 year?
yeah, what was, it's like Rodney said, the thing that was, we tabled the range for now, okay? We're trying to get comparable.
So when I'm doing budgets or whatever, then we need to be looking at the minimum for sure, then is what you're saying.
Yeah, but
You approved
you're,
it, so the minimum would be for sure.
Yes.
And wherever you go from there
Are you
is
having a hard time
what
hearing
you do on the 30th, right?
okay. I think so.
And what about cost of living? Do we need
Do we
to-
get a chart of those?
that's in the
Amounts?
handbook.
Yeah, it affects the
That's
budget
gonna
right
go
now,
into the
but
handbook, isn't it?
so if we have to
Well, the cost of living fluctuates every year, so
Well, I
whatever
know.
those
I can't
salaries
hardly hear
are,
you, Jeannie, come on up, I'm sorry.
whatever those salaries are, we'll have to figure kind of a 1%, 2%. And
Yeah.
last year you gave us a 6%, 3%.
The CPI index, you can go on site, they update it on the 15th of each month, they go back a year. I don't know if I brought it with me or not, but as of the 15th of last month, going back a year, it was 1.7%. Does that sound
Yep.
within the
Yeah, it's
ballpark
pretty
that you've
much
seen?
too.
So if we
Okay.
did an average 2 2%?
If we were to predict ahead, I'd say 2% would be a fair estimate for cost of living raise.
Okay.
But again, today's the 15th. I can, tomorrow I'll go in and see if they've updated it.
Okay.
So will the department heads get a pay schedule for their office that you guys have approved, or so that we can start
that's
doing
my
our budget?
Did you guys,
That's why I wanted this
what did you
to
guys
be
decide
effective
about
July 1st, to give her time to do all of those charts.
elected officials? I don't see that I have in my notes, or I hope I didn't miss it. On the elected official pay, is it going to be at a level pay, or is it going to be a one-time, like yours, your pay scale is just a one-time elected pay for this position is this amount of dollars. Are you going to transfer that to the other elected officials as well, or do they stay at a level pay,
That's what
or?
was recommended in there, was that there's a minimum and maximum for elected officials. There's a.
Well, the reason
minimum and maximum.
I wanted to table that is because some of the, I mean, you'll be going into your second term. You know, I thought we had already said that.
Yeah, but according to Austin Peters, their recommendations, it says if you're an elected official, or, you know, then the minimum and the maximum are the same.
Right, that's what,
That's what I'm asking.
On that
So
other
this
sheet, the
affects-
minimum.
This affects the budgets that we're going to be submitting to you on the 28th. But you're not going to make a decision until, what, the 30th?
they did
The
approve.
the pay has been settled.
Well, okay, but what about if you have one of these employees that are going to miss, what? Then that affects it as well.
All other employees are falling in that range already. That's, you know, they're not underpaid, they're not overpaid.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out how, with the tax lid coming up,
Yeah.
how do we budget with recommendations and with the difference in the pay scales, and if this is going to, how do you do that?
Yes.
I can guess. I can do that. This will be my 29th budget that I've submitted to the county commissioners. I can guess, but don't want to waste your time either by saying things that, you know, that you're not.
When I used to fill out a budget, I guessed every year, so just as well guess.
I have a question on the pay increases that you guys did back in December. There were some positions that were 6%, 3% last year, 3% this coming year. Are you still, do you remember all those decisions to know, as far as department heads, how to budget that? Right.
Would you want to go ahead and make that decision today?
I don't care what the hell we do.
I'm
My
just
position with that,
What's that?
Well, on
when you
last
fill
year's
out your
pay,
budget, you're gonna have to fill out what you want anyway, and it may get changed. So, I mean, you know, this ain't set in stone yet. Just because you write it on a budget line don't mean that's what you're gonna get anyhow.
Correct, but when you went through all those wages of all the employees,
We tried to get.
you had given a lot
We
of
tried to
people-
get everything back
Yeah.
in line then, so.
But some of those were 6% with 3% last year and 3%
Some of
this
it
coming
spread
year.
over 2 years.
Yeah,
Right.
right. So I'm just wanting to
Right.
make sure that, are you guys still
So we
going to
gotta
stick with
take
that?
into
Yeah.
consideration.
Are you still
That's
going
fine.
to?
Look at it this way, you got one employee.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to give that one employee a raise next year? If so, do you want to give them 50 cents? Take what they're getting this year
Well,
and put it in the budget, and then it's up to us to say yes or no.
we already have. Remember, we give them the 3%. We
I
said we
know,
give them
that's what I
3%
said,
next
that's why everybody else is falling already in that range.
Okay.
That's my
That's what
assumption.
I'm
That's the assumption I have too.
Okay.
So, that the three, when we did the split up the 6%, the 3 will be coming this next year.
Right,
So
Right.
that's,
and Rodney concurs on that.
Okay.
Plus the 2%.
Jesus Christ, you're greedy.
So we're getting the 3% you said last year plus the 2% for this year?
Cost of
Last year's
living.
commitment was last year's.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
What his question is if we went 6%, we did 3% this year, 3% next year. Does they get 2% for cost of living increase on top of that?
There, I don't see where he's coming from on that.
I think that's what last year you did 3% plus 3%.
They got a
plus living.
6%.
They got a
A lot of
6%
people got a 6% raise this year.
We'll have to look into that area.
Okay.
I was just asking,
Yeah, well,
We'll work through it.
I'm really confused now.
Because we need to finish the handbook, because there are certain people that are gonna get longevity pay because of the handbook. And then in that handbook, it says that we'll do a pay review each year for cost of living. So,
Not for cost of living, but for the, what is it called? There's a cost of living and then there's a
Longevity.
no,
Evaluation.
evaluation, performance evaluation.
Mine evidently was low because I never got that when I worked there.
we'll go talk to the man.
He does laugh.
All right, are we done?
Damn, pretty.
okay.
I'll second the motion.
And I wish,
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I want to get a copy of this. Yeah, she wasn't here.
You want us to
Give
have
it
a
to
copy?
David. She just confirmed it. Don't check this out. Okay.
I made that run Rodney. I guess they just run that.
Okay.
And I'm working over